Okay. Um, moving on now. I think I got to give you a victory lap on this one. On Snoop's most recent interview with Big Boy, he talks about how he fell out with Tupac, right before Tupac got shot on the way to Vegas. But one thing in particular is Big Boy said, "Tell me about the last time you saw him." And this time, he said that he went into the room and that he threw up, like you said he did. Not that he fainted, which he originally stated. But, he talked about how Suge called him at Warren G's house and said, "Yeah, I got grazed and Tupac's, he got hit, but he's been up, he's down right now, but he's gonna be fine." Do you mind telling the story in detail as much as you can about taking Snoop to the hospital and going with him inside to see Tupac?
Well, I didn't go inside with him to see Pac, but my story goes that he came in that morning to Suge's house in Vegas because Suge told him that Thursday. He called him and said, "Hey man, Pac ain't doing that good. He's looking bad, and the mother's going to pull him off the life support. So you need to come, and if you want to come and see Pac, you need to come in. You know, you need to come to Vegas ASAP." And so this is that Thursday, which would have been what, the 5th, y'all? What day he died? The 6th or the 7th? The 7th. So this would have been the 6th, that Thursday. He comes in that morning, the morning of the 7th, which would have been that Friday.
You know what? I misspoke. He got shot on the 7th. He passed on the 13th.
Okay, yeah, okay.
Yeah, sorry about that.
Okay, so that would have been the 12th then, that Suge made the call. He came in the morning of the 13th, about 3, 4 in the morning. I opened the door, I think it was one of his homeboys, probably Trey D, and his 2 security, Marcus and Kenneth. And they came in the house about 3, 4 that morning, went and lay down, because they just took that 3 or 4 hour trip. And they woke up like 7 or 8 o'clock for visiting hours that morning. And they went to the hospital and visited him. He went in a room. Like I always told y'all, he got emotional. Not emotional, that's the wrong word. Oh, it bothered him. And he threw up and kind of fainted where the security, Marcus kind of caught him when he kind of fell. And so I was just telling that story to say it affected him, on the deathbed. He came out, was saying how he was going to name his son after Tupac, his second son. Little Spanky was always here and making all those promises. And where, at least he got it off his chest. I'm sure he told him he loved him and he's sorry or whatever. I don't know because I wasn't in the room. But he had his last moments with Pac that day, 8, 9 in the morning. We all know Pac died that day. I think like 3:54, 3:55, or 4:54, 4:55 that day. And so the only reason I think that story ever came up was just to say that what people were saying Snoop never came or this or that. Snoop did come that Friday on the day that Pac passed away and pay his respects to or talk or have a conversation, whatever y'all want to call it, to Pac while he was laying there fighting for his life before they took him off the ventilator. And so, yeah, I mean, I love how you let people keep talking and talking. Reggie Truth start coming out. Everything that I was called a liar for and all of that. They keep talking, they tell the truth. I told y'all what happened, how he didn't talk, and the incident at the hotel and all of that. And, Pac was threatening to beat up. No, he just kept walking. The argument was between Suge, not an argument, where Pac was just going off. Was disappointed about the statements that was made at the radio station and how they didn't talk. and all of that. I mean, I don't know why Snoop keeps saying how we disarmed his security or took his security from him, because everybody knew the security wasn't riding on the private plane. It was just them on the private plane. Snoop should, the myth or the bad thing that I wish Snoop would really understand, the one thing that I do get from him, or I want Snoop to know, if he ever listened to anything that Reggie says, yes, Suge didn't want that incident to happen between Pac and Snoop. That was bad. He didn't know how to deal with that when Pac was mad and talking about he gonna have the Outlaws rush the Dog Pound at the studio and all of that, when he was disappointed. I mean, if he wanted to do something, Snoop was out there pretty much alone, just with him and his dad and his security. And he had all the New Jersey dudes out there. So he was mad, but Pac, they wasn't on that page where they was trying to do nothing to Snoop. They were mad, and he said he was gonna have the dog pound, but he never said like he was gonna fight Snoop or put hands on Snoop or anything like that. And so that was the thing, but I say this and I say this again, they would have worked it out. They eventually would have worked it out. But what Snoop was saying that day did have Pac pissed by saying that he would work with Biggie and had no problems with that. All Pac was saying is now they know we divided. They know we not one. They know we not family like we portraying. They know we separate now, so I'm a dead man. I'm a dead man. He was saying that out there in Vegas. Yeah, that's how that story goes. And yeah.
And just he was saying that I'm a dead man and stuff in New York, right?
Yes, he was saying that in New York. Yeah.
Were you on the private plane?
No, I didn't. I flew back with the security as well. And so when he said we took the security from him, that was always the plan. That's how we rode there. And he had his security and his driver, some other security pick him up in his Rolls Royce. So yeah.
So not having security on the private plane, that's not uncommon. So that is more added to the story for dramatics, you think?
Yeah, because we never really flew that deep. I mean, we had a lot of people out there that weekend. And generally, it would be Pac and his security, or Suge and his guys, or Snoop and his crew. But that particular time, we had the whole crew. And so it was mainly just Suge and probably one or two of his guys, probably Buntry, or whatever female, because he always had a female with him. And then Pac, and then Snoop. Because, it was only probably like a 6 or 7 seater. And so, that's all was on the plane. It wasn't like one of those big G5s or G4s. It wasn't one of those back then. Yeah.